feel like you maybe did it last time. Hold on, I put ask chat to give me some help.
You know what we're talking about.
Okay. Hey Jabbers, welcome back. This week, Gabby and I are going to chat about slow season and what do you do when business feels quiet? How do you move forward? How do you move through that? Sometimes it's a little scary when the inquiries slow down and all your weddings are done for the year, and then you start to panic and think, oh my gosh, my business is going to fail. But we want to talk about why sometimes that quiet is really nice to have and how you can actually realign yourself, your business, your purpose, and work on back end business things and different things like that. So it's not always bad when it's quiet or slower. And we also want to talk a little bit about why like resting is important and that's also productive as well. So, Gabby, have you hit a slow season already, or are you still kind of like in the thick of it? And are you scared or are you excited for that slow season to happen?
I'm scared. Just kidding. Um, well, it's funny you asked this because if any of you are following us on Substack, Carrie and I alternate by like who's posting stuff every other week. And I went back and looked at my posts, and several of them are how there's no bookings coming in and I'm panicking. That's like literally the feelings I have several times a year. But every time I come out of it, and it has served me in so many ways. So either like I've upgraded my business, I've taken time on the back end to do some stuff, or like you said, Carrie, I just took advantage of the slow season and did a little TLC or just took a breather, wrote out some goal settings, all that kind of stuff. So I think it's just the nature of our business. There will always be a slow season, but it's fun that we're talking about this today, especially going into winter, which we're going to hit super busy in the sense of like booking season is coming, but then we're going to hit this huge lull where we're not going to be actively producing events. So this comes at a great time. Um,
Mhm.
how about you? How does your business like ebb and flow?
I would say over the years, it's always been like slow in the beginning of the year, obviously after the holidays, kind of like winter. I mean, winter in California is all relative. It's mostly rainy. But then it's like, spring, summer, fall was always super busy. And granted, even in those slower months, I was doing all the planning work. And like you said, booking and things like that, but it still felt slower because you're not actually producing those events. Um, and then yeah, it was like always November on. I was like, oh my God, it's like panic because everyone is a little quieter during the holidays and
Yeah.
they're like, even if they got engaged, they like want to like take a step back, enjoy, people are kind of checking out from life, I would say. And so it's usually like after the holidays are over in the new year, people are like diving back into business. Um, but I would say this past year has been very different for me, which we can kind of dive into later of it's been a slower year overall, but that's, a lot of stuff has shifted priority wise for me. So there's been some panic kind of all year around for me this year.
Yes, some yearly panic. We love that. We just function at this like level of panic year round that we're just used to. I think it's very unfortunate for our generation, but
Yeah.
here we are. Okay, let's say it's a normal panic year. What are some things that you're maybe doing on that's actually business related on the back end of your business to better set you up to get more leads or maybe just in waiting for engagement season to happen? What are some things that you're working on?
I think the big things that I tend to focus on are like revamping my brochures, making sure any like canned emails that I have, like automated emails that I have in Honeybook are updated. It reflects current pricing. Even just like changing the tone or the voice of the emails is good to switch that up from year to year. And just making sure it's still relevant of like, oh, is that information incorrect that's being sent to people? So a lot of like automation systems, I think, you know, blogging for me was always kind of like a weekly, bi-weekly thing. And then, making sure Pinterest was going. So I think a lot of that stuff, just like cleaning it up. And I was telling Gabby earlier, one of the big things was like mileage and receipts and like getting your books in order. It's like the thing at the end of the year that sometimes you panic about. Um, and mine was very consistent because I had a bookkeeper for a really long time. I don't have one this year. And so I've been kind of doing it myself, which has been a new learning curve. But I feel like I used to have this weekly reminder to do my mileage report and receipts. And I would always just be like, oh, yeah, I'll do it. And then I would skip over it. And then it's like I'm sitting there and being like, okay, I have to do the last 3 months because
Yeah.
I totally forgot to do this. So I think it's just a good time to sit and be like, okay, what are all the back end things that I need to clean up and just making sure anyone that is going to inquire with me, everything looks fresh, it looks clean, it's exciting marketing, it has updated work, like photos from
Yeah.
weddings this year is always a really great thing to update. Um, or just like your best work. Maybe you don't want to share some work from this year that doesn't align with you fully, which is totally fine. Like you can take on clients that still pay your bills and they're not like fully aligned with your brand, but in terms of like the design, but I think pulling your best work and, updating that is really important too.
Yeah, that's a good one. I also, thanks to Sarah Dunn, who is the queen of SEO. Sarah does SEO. If you guys don't follow her, you have to. Also, she does these like free lunch and learns every month. And every time when I think I've learned everything there is to learn about SEO, I log into these free lunch and learns and I'm like, dang it, I didn't know that. So, highly recommend. But one thing she told me, and she said this a million times to everybody, but you have to be the one to actually implement it. She says, go make a calendar date or put this on your calendar. Don't be like Carrie, where you put on your calendar, but you don't do it every Friday.
This is a judgment-free zone,
This
Gabby.
is, yes, not judging, just stating the facts. Um, but put it on your calendar once a month and you will go into Google My Business and you will do a few things. One, you will upload current photos. So, like you said, Carrie, your best work, stuff that you want to attract more of. And you will also go in and write reviews for other wedding vendors. You can also ask other wedding vendors to write reviews for you. And I know we've talked about this before, but this is such an important reminder that Google doesn't need you to just have reviews from clients. Like, obviously, that's important. But if a vendor has worked with you and they've experienced your attention to detail, your timeline, organization or whatever it is, they can speak on that. And I think that's really fair for them to write a review. So going in and updating that, writing reviews for other people, putting some new photos, and also Google My Business has a little area where you can post stuff. And I'm
Mhm.
not really consistent with it, but when I have my monthly date with Google My Business, I go in and I put a few posts where it's like either, our books are now open for 2026 or we just worked at this amazing venue. We'd love to book more things there. Just like random
Mhm.
posts, right?
Yeah.
And it's just, again, keeping Google happy and keeping that active. And I thought that was just a really good tip. And it's once a month, you guys. It's not
Yeah.
a weekly thing. So, Carrie, we need to put in our shared calendar so we both do it.
Yes, I agree. I mean, I also think for reviews, I mean, that's a huge thing, right? Like a lot of times I would always after a client's wedding, I'll send a thank you email, like if you could please leave me a review, here are all the links for it, yada yada yada. But a lot of times they don't do it. Even
Mhm.
though I know they loved me, had a great experience, people just get busy or like honestly, it's a wedding email and then they don't check it anymore. But I think a good thing, like if you have an email list and all those people are on it, ask people for reviews because sometimes even old clients are like, oh yeah, I never left her a review. I would love to leave a review or like post about it on social media. I think now in this day and age, it's like such an easy way to support other businesses and people, if they're reminded, I think they'll do it.
Yeah, for sure.
What
Other
about
thing,
you, Gabby? What are some things you do in the slow
yeah.
season?
Yeah, similar to you, I think on for sure like a back end business stuff, looking at the website, blog posts, pitching to blogs. So,
Hmm.
if you guys caught our last episode or two episodes ago with Jen from Green Wedding Shoes, she was giving us insane insider information, or what I will call insider information, about how to stand out when you're submitting to big online wedding blogs. And it was just such a good reminder because she was saying that this is like we're in November, December time. This is when you need to be submitting your content because they're going to go live right away for engagement season. And I
Hmm.
mean, talk about more bang for your buck. Like, this is it. So that's what I'm going to double down on this year. And obviously, I'm going to pitch my best ones, right? Like, I'm not pitching all of them. I just need to sit down with a glass of wine and just me and ChatGPT have a conversation about this wedding and
Yeah.
write some stuff. And also, the biggest thing is I'm going to need to find a title. Like what she said was find a
Yeah.
title that stands out that's going to make her stop the scroll. So I really need to
Hmm.
brainstorm that.
Yeah. I thought that was fascinating. That's like what gets her in to be like, okay, I'll look at this wedding.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
might be like, Jen, stop your scroll right now. Look at
I
this
know.
wedding. Jen, I know you're looking at this.
Please look at this.
Please. But yeah, so yeah, stuff like that. And then content. I mean, right before we started recording, Carrie and I were like, we just need to be better at our podcast content. It is a world of video right now,
Mhm.
reels, TikToks. Everyone wants to see video. And I fully get it because that's what I consume too. So I just cannot blame the people for wanting video.
I know. Nobody wants a static image anymore,
Nobody wants to.
unfortunately.
I know, bummer. I just hired someone. Actually, she's a former bride of mine turned content creator for weddings. And she's going to do for my Cause We Can Events brand, she's going to do 4 or 5 reels per week
Oh,
with my behind the scenes stuff. Like, I'm going to set her up with my Google Drive and like she'll have access to all of that because I told her, I was like, can I do it? Yes. Can I do it as fast as you can? No. And
right.
also, I would consider her Gen Z. And they're
Okay.
just getting married now. And I know they want something different than what millennials were looking at. So, like, the content is going to be different. And I need her to
Mhm.
speak to those clients on my behalf.
Yeah. Speak to the youngins for
Yeah.
us
Yeah.
because we don't know.
Because we don't know.
I
So,
mean, I think that's great. Also, Gabby was saying, before we started recording, she just doesn't really care anymore. So she's like, if I'm cringy, it is what it is. Like,
it'll
I'm
get
gonna
views.
just, yeah, I'm just gonna start
Cringe.
posting.
Yeah, cringe will get views. That's crazy. I mean, I don't want to look like an idiot, but I don't mind being a little like, oh God, that's so awkward. But the message was good. Like, if the message
Yeah.
is good
I feel
and
like
it was
people get a
funny,
good laugh out of it.
totally. So
Yeah.
follow along on our Just Another Biz podcast Instagram because that's where I'm the most cringy. And I test out a lot of trends on there since we have very few followers. But we
Yeah.
look forward to growing that audience and
Yeah.
looking back on those cringy posts one day,
It'll be
laughing.
great. Yep. When we've made it big. Okay, so in this slow season, obviously a lot of times anxiety, self-doubt, comparison comes in. Even for us, those people, that have been in this industry for like 10, 11 plus years. Every year, the same feelings happen. We're failing, our business is going to close down at the end of the year. All of these things. And I think like it's a good reminder. Like, obviously, the silence doesn't mean we're failing. Sometimes it's realigning ourselves or looking at the data or how we're marketing, what's our messaging to people. Um, and it's such a mindset shift and it is really hard. Like, it's a muscle you have to work. Like I said, we've been doing this for 10 plus years and I still have that same like, oh my God, I'm never going to make another penny in my life again. Like you get really dramatic,
Yes.
and then you're like, oh, I got an inquiry. Oh, another client booked me. So I think like what you were saying, Gabby, I'd love to hear more of your thoughts, but like sometimes the silence and allowing ourselves to rest is also productive. It's not negative. I think society has told us like if you're resting or taking a break from hustling and working, like you're failing. Your business is going to fail and you're not going to make money.
So true. And I think that's a very American and like North American belief.
Mhm.
Because if you think about Europe and even like Mexico, even, right? Like they take breaks during the day each day. And I love that for them. And I wish we could implement
For them.
that. But it doesn't work like that in our society. And I do think we're
Mhm.
hard on ourselves when it comes to work. Like workaholics, there's some pride that comes with that. And for sure, the message out there more recently has been one of hustling does not equal your worth, like
Mhm.
more work does not equal your worth, which I like that message. But like you said, it's a muscle we have to continue to work because we forget that. Like I could be told that all day long, and I still have feelings of like, oh my God, well, that person just said they're booked solid for 2026.
Right.
What the heck? Like I saw that this morning. It's a
Yep.
planner that we both work at the same wedding venue. We're both on the preferred list at this venue. And she said, we are officially booked for 2026. I'm like, excuse me. How can this be? But
It's that or the like, we only have three spots left. And you're
yeah,
like, three spots. Yeah.
three. Yeah.
Yeah.
That one, I'm like, liar. You're just saying that for scarcity. But like, we're fully booked. Nobody can argue that. But also, I think of a few things. One, I know for a fact they are more than half the price of my services. I can't
Mm,
compete with that. I
yeah.
can't offer that. So, yes, that makes sense. And if I really want to analyze them in that sense, I would be like, gosh, if you're booked before the start of 2026, that means to me that you are not charging enough. You're too accessible. And maybe that works
Hmm.
for them and like more power to them.
Totally. Yeah.
But if you buy yourselves a few more months by raising your prices, you get a few people that say no. Great. You're making a little bit more per client. But anyway, I digress.
But I also think that's a good thing to keep in mind, right? Like just because another planner or another vendor says they're fully booked out, you have to take into account that like what they're fully booked out could mean something different, right? Like they might only be taking on 12
True.
a year. Like let's say you don't know what their pricing structure is or they charge the same amount as you. I mean, sometimes planners are like, I'm only taking on full planning clients a year. And like that is fully booked out for them. And I just think to keep in mind, like everyone's financial situation is different. Whether you have like a significant other that also provides and supports you, whether you have children, like, and I think that's where it's detrimental for us to compare
Hmm.
and then we kind of get stuck, right? Of like, oh my God, they're booked out. Like, why even try type of thing. And it's like everyone's story is so different and like just stay in your lane, right? Like book out what you want to book out and what feels good for you and financially helps you and your family.
It's so true. Yeah. And I think like we go back to if you're really feeling like, no, but I'm not booking anything and I'm
Hmm.
really worried, then you go back to kind of what we first talked about. It's like, are you working on your back end of your business? Are
Hmm.
you having vendor meetings and connections? Do people know who you are? Are you so new that they don't even know that you exist out there? Can you go to bridal shows? Can you go like there's so many
Hmm.
places you can bring up a little bit more visibility, or you could reach out to these booked planners and say, "Hey, I've admired you. Like so amazed that you're fully booked out. I'm getting started. I actually don't have a lot of bookings. Would you be willing to send potential inquiries my way?" Like that, we
Yeah.
share leads all the time, not necessarily Carrie and I, because we're no longer in the same market, but we
Yeah.
have.
Hmm.
And now with my Nashville wedding planners group, we're constantly sharing leads like, hey, this is not a good fit for me. This
It's
might
so
be a,
great. Yeah.
yeah. And that's
Yeah.
how we should do it. We don't just, I never want to just email a client back and say, sorry, we're booked for your date. Good luck. I
Yeah.
always say, sorry, I'm booked for your date, or we're not a good fit, or whatever it is. But I really recommend the following three planners. I don't know their availability, of course, but
Hmm.
I think they are really aligned with what you need.
Yeah. That's, I think it's a great way to approach, like, it's such an abundance mindset, right? Because you're
Yeah.
not afraid of giving that client to somebody else. You know whether they're aligned with you or fit your budget. Um, and like, why not support another business and send
Yeah.
them? Because maybe that person is like a dream client for that person,
Totally.
you know,
And Carrie, do you know why I have an abundance mindset?
because of the abundance group.
Yes, ma'am. You guessed it. You guessed it. If you've been a long time jabber, you know I'm obsessed with my mastermind and I could talk about it all day. So feel
Wouldn't be
free to
right if
DM me.
Gabby didn't mention it
It
per
wouldn't be
episode.
right. It wouldn't be right. It's all part of my everyday life.
We love it.
Yes. Okay. I also want to touch on and curious your thoughts here. Another part of why I think we can be a little bit stuck or feeling slow is that we're lacking creativity. Like we've been in the wedding bubble for 12 months with a little break here and there. And we may feel stuck as to just how to generate new ideas, new creativity. And I found that a slow season can be a really great opportunity to kind of just get reignite that with hobbies or other creative outlets. Have you experienced that before? Or what are some things, I guess, that you do to reignite your creativity?
Yeah. I think in my busiest years, well, this is, I guess, back up. This is something I've thought about a lot recently of how I'm like, I don't know that I have a lot of hobbies. And I think there's things that I enjoy, but I feel like I don't have the time to do. I'm doing air quotes because I know that's not true because I'm also like spend a lot of time on my phone, which I'm sure a lot of people do, right? Because you're kind of like, for me, I think a lot of that is like, okay, maybe I'll get inspired by something. I need to post content. And then you kind of get sucked into
Mhm.
the like just watching everyone else and then you don't end up posting anything. Um, I will say this past year, because I've had a little bit more free time and stay home with my daughter as well, I've been like baking more and doing some other things that have been really fun. Um, in the past, though, I would say like even just being outside, like getting out in nature was like a huge thing for me because it allowed me to disconnect from everything. Um, but yeah, I think I want to find more hobbies to that allow me to like be creative and just get out of the bubble because I do struggle with like a new design board. I'm like, shit, I don't know what to do at all. Like anything that just feels different from what I've done in the past. And it does take a while sometimes just to get that creative energy flowing. So I think the thing for me though with hobbies is like it's okay to do that and like not get
Yes.
paid, right? Like I think we're so ingrained of like if you have a hobby, you should monetize it and have a
Yeah.
side hustle. And it's like I just want to enjoy something for fun. Like honestly, in the past year I've also like colored a lot. It's
Yes.
just been like nice to sit and color and like turn a show on in the background.
And are you saying that to yourself right now? Like, do you feel guilty having a hobby that's not a moneymaker?
Yes, or that like I shouldn't be spending my time just
Got
enjoying
it.
something. I should be like going working on my business and like
Mm,
actually trying to bring in more clients, more money, stuff like that instead of
yeah.
just like leisurely reading a book.
Yes. Okay, this is a funny comparison, but this is how I feel when my cleaning lady comes
Mm,
because I pay her for 4 hours. She's $25 an hour. And I think to myself, I need to be doing something of greater value than $25 an hour if I'm going to go and pay for her. So at first, I'm like, gotta send, gotta reach out to leads, gotta generate business. But then at one point, I just sat on the couch and I was like, I'm gonna watch the all the YouTube videos I've been wanting to watch. Did I feel guilty? I did. I did feel a little bit guilty, but I was like, Gabby, ease into it. You have permission to chill. You are
yeah.
outsourcing this task because it will make you more capable of selling later on because your brain got a break or your body got a break or whatever. And sometimes I'll go out now, I go out and ride my horse or like do something for fun. And I think to your point, it's okay, like you said, to have these hobbies that are not related to the wedding industry, but may bring in a different type of energy or creativity down the road that you didn't even know
Yeah.
was related to that hobby, you know?
But isn't that funny that like we're so ingrained. Okay, you've outsourced a task, whatever it is, even if it wasn't a cleaning lady. Maybe you like pay $100 to get like meals prepped for you every week or something like that. That is time. Like you never would have had time to ride your horse if you would have been cleaning
Right.
the house for 4 hours and then you're like, now I have to work because I spent the last 4 hours cleaning. I don't have time to ride my horse. And so I think we're so ingrained in like if you're outsourcing something, you better be making money instead of just like enjoying your life and like
So true.
having the free time to go do something else.
It's so true. And I also wonder, like, do men think like that, or is this like a women's guilt?
Ooh. Should we bring a guy on
We
and
should.
chat about that? That's interesting.
You know, I
Yeah.
feel my gut says they don't feel as
Hmm.
bad. I'm not
Yep.
saying they don't at all. I'm sure some people, some men do, but I almost feel like it's a women thing.
Hmm.
We should have a therapist on, is what we should.
Oh my gosh, we should. We pretend to play a therapist for our
Yeah.
clients, so we
Yeah,
should have a legit therapist on. Yeah, that's a
we
good idea.
should.
Okay, so last thing I want to talk about
That was a big
is
sigh,
I
Carrie. That
know.
was like,
I'll
whew, that
edit
was
that
heavy.
out. Okay, last thing I want to talk about is I think in these slow seasons, or as I was saying for myself, it's kind of been a slower year. And I'm kind of just in a different stage of life. I've had a kid, my priorities have shifted. I am the main like caretaker. My husband goes to work every day. And it's been hard. Like it's a hard shift. And I've talked about this before of just like my business being slower. But also I'm finding that like the love for wedding planning is just not there anymore. And I feel really guilty saying that. Like I've really enjoyed it. Don't get me wrong. It was hard, it was stressful. Like we all know this, but like I did really enjoy doing that for 11 years, but I just think for me, I like want something different. And I don't mind like staying in this world and like helping people and educating them. And I think that's why, Gabby, you and I started the podcast. Um, but it's a really hard transition. And I think sometimes in those quieter moments, you're trying to figure out like how to realign yourself and like maybe there's another avenue to like take your business and make money that way and like figure out what else I'm passionate about. But like it's a really hard space to be in. And Gabby and I talked about bringing someone on to kind of talk about this who's a little bit more knowledgeable in this space and has kind of been through that. But yeah, I don't know, I'm kind of in a season of like what's next and where's my business going to go and how to handle that. It's a tough
Yeah.
spot to be in.
Yeah, because in some capacity, there's a loss there. Like there's this
Mhm.
part of your life that you'll have to grieve a little bit, where if you truly are, I hate to say it, like closing down feathered arrow events, you know? And I
Mhm.
don't know if that's where you're at or if you're just dipping your toe and testing it out to see what does it feel like. There is going to be a part of you that grieves that and that you'll have FOMO and
Mhm.
that what if you're not invited to the planner dinners anymore, right? Like there's so many
Yeah.
cool perks
Oh,
that
for
go
sure.
around it. It's not all stress, but a lot of it
Mhm.
is. You have to, yeah, you have to then look forward to something else. And I think it's hard to let that go until you know what the next step is. So it's
Yeah.
okay to be kind of in between
Yeah.
and maybe still going back a little bit and then moving forward and like, but I get it. I think a lot of us that have been in this for 10 plus years think about this regularly. What would my life look like if I stepped away? And I think there's two options. One is close it down, and the second option is have someone take it over, like, or I guess there's three options. You could sell it. You could
Yeah.
see, is it worth selling? But I think what a lot of us do is we hire lead planners to take it on, but that
Hmm.
still requires you being in the business unless you were hiring
Yeah.
a COO, CFO, like do all these C-level people, which we're small businesses. We can't
Yeah.
afford to have those people. So
Yeah.
we're either in it some capacity or we're not at all.
I feel like I am in the period where like a lot of people we've interviewed are like, after COVID hit, I realized I wanted to pivot my business because I couldn't do events anymore. And I'm like, maybe that's the mindset I need to have. Just like
Yeah.
pivot because I know I can't continue to do events as we grow our family. And I can still be in this world and like run Feathered Arrow, but maybe it's just like in a different capacity. And you know,
Yeah. Take it.
podcast and like something else, like obviously having another revenue stream. But I think it is once I'm like really feel like, okay, this is it, then I can really go in on it. But I think I'm in that like gray area of like, I don't really know. Like I feel
Yeah.
lost of what's
Yeah.
next.
And I don't think you need to know. I think you test it. Like you
Hmm.
said, you see what it looks like if you were to find someone to take on all the leads,
Yeah.
and all you do would be sales calls, right? Or in back
Mhm.
end business. See how that feels. And if you're like,
Yeah.
still don't love that, great. Let's see this. Like it's going to be it's going to take a second
Yeah.
to figure that out. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm in the same boat to some extent. Like I still like parts of it. I don't know if I love all of it,
Hmm.
or perhaps it's just in a reduced quantity.
Yeah.
But, we'll have to make that decision when we get our big sponsorship for the podcast, and we have a
Exactly.
private jet and we'll be flying around to all these interviews and stuff. I mean, we'll have to just make a decision, Carrie. It's just the nature
Yes.
of our
Yes, we
future.
will.
So,
It's exciting stuff. So if you'd like to sponsor our podcast, hit us up, send us a DM or an email.
yes, don't wait too long, because we do have people emailing us nonstop. Can we be
We're almost
involved?
fully booked for
Almost
2026.
fully booked, y'all. No, no, but you know what you guys can do if you are loving this and our honest conversations is you can come be a Substack member. We're still keeping it at $5 a month right now, or $50 for the year, but we will be raising those prices in 2026 because we are going to be doing weekly episodes. As you know, we've been doing bi-weekly, which has been all we could handle just in terms of our workload. But now that we're both retiring from events, we can do this weekly, and we have lots to talk about. So we love your support. And if that's not in the budget for you, we would love a 5-star review. That also makes us very happy.
Or come be a free subscriber on Substack.
Yeah,
You can still
that's true.
get some great quality content. Subscribe on Apple Podcast. Even like those free numbers really help us in growing and, continuing doing the podcast. So
Yeah. I think it's a great place to end.
yeah.
I think the message for our jabbers is truly that slow season doesn't have to be all bad. We all go through it. It can be a seasonal thing. It can be a place where we grow. It can be a place where we tap into our hobbies and get our creative brains working. And if you guys ever want support or want to chat about it, like DM us. I think Carrie and I are both in that Instagram, and we love to hear from you guys, and we love to have
Yeah.
these conversations. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and we will catch you in a couple weeks.
Bye.
Bye.